Boy, that ball was smoked too.
Well, the first 2 outs haven't been much of a problem for Paul. It's after that where he has stumbled. Popped him up. Marte's under it. And the Diamondbacks have their 15th comeback win this year, and Paul Sewald has the save.
D-backs win it 7-5 over the Atlanta Braves. Game 4 of that series later on tonight in Arizona. I'm Chuck on the weather forecast, and we say goodbye today with a high near 90. A lot of sunshine the next 5 days. Highs in the 90s and lows of near 70. Right now, 68 in downtown Sylacauga. That is a wrap for me on a Thursday morning, the 11th day of July. Until next time, God bless you. God bless America. Stay safe, everyone.
Rise and shine, everyone. It is Thursday, July 11th, 7:30 in the morning. Thank you for starting your day off with us right here on Rise and Shine on WEAC TV 24. So every Thursday morning, we are really lucky to be joined by guests from Gadsden State Community College and to talk about all of the opportunities that are right here to further your education or to start your education or whatever area of your education you're in, Gadsden State can help. So this morning we're going to be talking about enrollment and how to afford an education because it is way more affordable than most people even realize. So to shine some light onto that and to give us information, we have Andy Green. He is the Dean of Student Services, and Ian Freiberg. He is the Director of Financial Aid. So welcome.
Well, thank you, Lauren. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Okay, so let me tell you, Andy, you were actually the first guest from Gadsden State that is on the show for the second time.
Well, it's great to be back, Lauren.
I know. It's great to have you. Okay, so we've got to talk about something that I think is happens often, where people feel like, well, I want to get an education, but I'm not sure how to pay for it. And it's that daunting, where do I start? Where do I go? And so you're here to tell the viewers that, you know, it's easy, right?
It can be easy.
It can be.
Yeah, it absolutely can. And so the way that we have things structured at Gadsden State is it's through Student Services. We have a dedicated office in financial aid, and where we are located, whether we're on the Ayers campus, which is just down the road from the studio here, or maybe at the East Broad campus in Gadsden, or maybe even up at Cherokee campus in Center, is that we have an area where if students want to physically come in, sit down and talk with someone, we have staff and resources just right there available for them. Of course, everything is listed online for them to go through, but we know they might want to sit down and have a conversation.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times the question is, well, hey, is school right for me? And the answer is always yes. School is always right, whether that be a certificate, whether that be a degree, some type of training that will give that individual some upskill, give them an opportunity to advance in whatever career they're looking at, or just something for their own life they enjoy doing. And so so the answer is always yes, that school is right for you. And then oftentimes that students will say, well, hey, I know I want to do this, but how am I going to pay for it?
Yeah.
And that's really where Ian and his team come alongside, and they're able to, there are some federal programs that are through the Department of Education that we can administer locally. And so he and his team, they are able to help students through the process of completing those applications, to give them the information that they need. And then there's also some local things that we can offer to students, whether that be through scholarships, that can be through local grants or other opportunities that we have control of, that we're able to disperse to students to help them afford, which is already an affordable option at Gadsden State, but to help them afford that even more. And we have many students who I would imagine are I know I've taught with several that after they have registered for class, after they've gotten their books, after they've gotten everything they need from a resource standpoint, out of pocket, they've come out and paid nothing. And so that is something that I look at that and I say, wow, what an opportunity for that student, for that family, for even for a generation that they're getting some education and training, and through the Department of Education, through taxpayer resources. That's exactly what we're, funding education is always a great return in my opinion.
Me too.
So we're able to help change some lives.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
We're there to help. We actually had a grandmother come in a couple weeks ago with her grandson who was raising him. And she didn't think she was going to be able to afford college. And just by coming in and having a simple conversation with us, she left in tears. She was so happy, so relieved that she knew everything was going to be covered for her grandson, and just the joy in her was amazing.
Oh, you seem like you love that.
Yeah,
of course,
that
those
gets to me.
stories.
Yeah.
How often do you have that type of situation happen where somebody feels like they can't afford it, and then you're able to show them how they can?
It is more often than not, because like I said, I mean, with the FAFSA, if you complete that, I mean, it's almost $11,000 a year if you go the 3 semesters, $73.95 for the fall and spring semester. So, that's a large sum of money, and that, for a student that qualifies for that, now of course that's based on a family's income or whatever, but a student that qualifies for that, they often, like Andy said, will come home with a little bit of money in their pocket, and that helps with their other expenses. So, whether it's gas or, getting to and from work so they can afford all their other issues in life. So,
and sometimes that's one of the hardest things about trying to figure out how to get an education, is because you have bills, so you have to work, and so how do I balance both of these things? And that starts from a young age, and then it doesn't ever stop, right?
That's right. I mean, I think, I remember being a high school student working the grocery job and trying to balance the extracurricular activities, and I didn't know it at that point, but now we use the verb adulting, but it's like you start doing that early. But for many of our students, you're right. They are going to school, they're working. And for many of those students is that is that's great experience, because they're learning and they're earning, and so the way that the schedule can work out for them is that they want to be a full-time student. That's wonderful for us. And for them, they're going to complete on a more accelerated pace. But we also have students who say, well, hey, I can only take a few classes this semester because of my other obligations, and that's okay too.
Sure.
And so there's some things that structure a little bit different if they're not a full-time student, but it really allows those who want to go to school, those who want to continue to work, to do that. And as Ian mentioned there, for that student who might be eligible for the full Pell Grant amount, there's that opportunity for them to potentially get a refund. And what that can then go to are those expenses like transportation to school. And so they get that on the front end of the semester. And so we do our best to try to encourage them to, hey, let's put that in savings for you for the rest of the semester, so when something comes up that's unexpected or unplanned, and then you couldn't get to campus because you need a tire on that vehicle, you've got a resource that was education. It's educational related. It's your transportation. So, so we try to do our best to also do some early financial counseling in the lives of some of our students to just help them understand how to prepare and save for those rainy days.
Which is a big thing in itself, the financial planning and how to start off. I mean, that's so important. Do you have classes about financial planning?
Orientation classes sometimes will cover some of that, but we really prefer the students to come and just speak to us. During orientations, when I talk to students, the one thing I try and stress to all students is whatever you do, whether you change your schedule, anything, come talk to financial aid first, because then we can help make sure that you're set. Our sole goal in financial aid is, one, to put as much money, free money, in the student's pocket as we can, and two, for them to keep it whatever circumstances happen in life. So we know things happen all the time, whether it's sickness, death, illness. Sometimes students have to pull out in the middle of the semester, and when they do that, there are repercussions with federal aid. But if they come talk to us, quite often we can minimize that or make the whole situation go away where they're good. So.
Nice. It's nice to have someone who is there to guide you, because things can get really confusing. There's a lot of moving parts. The FAFSA, am I saying that right?
It. Right. Yeah, it's an acronym. Anything with federal government or state government or even higher education, there's going to be acronym soup. And so the FAFSA is the Free Application for federal student aid, but we just say FAFSA.
Yeah, that's a little easier. And there's been some changes. We were talking
absolutely.
the last time that you were here about the changes in FAFSA.
That's right.
And so we could talk a little bit about that now that you've had plenty of time to become an expert on all of the changes. And what, a month? Has it been a month or two?
It might have been that long, yeah.
No, but yeah, so let's talk about that. Like, how do these changes affect the student aid, or the financial aid for students?
Well, the main thing is everyone that needs to contribute to the FAFSA. So when a student fills out the FAFSA, they have to invite contributors, whether that's their parent, their spouse, whoever, and now all of those contributors have to have an FSA ID. So they go out to www.studentaid.gov and they'll apply for that, and that basically identifies them. So the other key piece, so as a contributor, so like if you're a student and you have to include your parents as contributors, they have to provide their tax information or at least agree to that, because right now with the new FAFSA, you're automatically linked. It pulls in all your data from the IRS.
Oh.
When there are issues with that, we can help make corrections or ask the student to make corrections. And there are little hiccups here and there. You know, they did have I believe it was in March or February, where they had an issue where independent students that put earnings or something, it kicked it back, so they had to reprocess all those FAFSAs of that. But you know, the Alabama Community College system, they've been very careful, and they kind of did everything to get us set up so we would have no problems when we started sending out awards and early in July here. So it's been they've been instrumental for me. I mean, just made my job so much better.
Good, because change is hard, and trying to relearn things that you've been working with for a long time. Is it beneficial, these changes, or?
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
It's a hard question,
you know,
I'm sure.
it's like anything. There are growing pains, and right now we're in the growing pain stage.
Yeah.
It's getting a little easier, and it's a learning process. And you know, since I'm in the financial aid field, I've seen how much. There've been a lot of directors that said, "I'm out. You know, I'm not doing this anymore." But I think going forward, it's going to be easier. It is easier for the students. I mean, they went from over 100 questions and chopped that almost in half.
Wow.
And the process is easier, but there are still hiccups, and so that's when we ask students to come in, and you know, we'll sit there with them at a computer and help them through their FAFSA, because some don't. But the main thing I would say to students when they are completing their FAFSA is take your time, read the questions, because a lot of our students, you know, they're click, 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 you know, everybody's so with their phones and so quick to answer things, and by not answering those questions right, sometimes it creates a little hiccup, and so once again, we're waiting on that FAFSA to come back for those corrections, because every time there's a correction, it adds to a delay. So.
Yeah, and it can cost money or make a change in the amount of FAFSA that you can receive, or the amount of financial support that you can receive.
Yeah.
So you want to go through those very slowly and take your time and get all the and that's one of the things that the guidance counselors in high schools, they stress to go ahead and fill those FAFSAs out for the seniors.
That's right. So any student who is in high school that's a senior for this upcoming year, the school staff, every school will help with that, but we go out to high schools and we'll help students because of those changes. And so we're kind of aware of what those changes have been, and so we're happy to go out, help that student body complete the FAFSA. And the school systems now have a requirement for everyone to be a FAFSA completer. And so that's encouraging for us, because we know that students are getting that application sent in. Now what they do with it, maybe when we come back after the break, we can talk about enrolling at Gadsden State.
Let's definitely do that. Well, as Andy said, we're going to take a quick break, go hear a word from our sponsors, and news, and a little bit of your weather. So stay tuned. You're watching Rise and Shine right here on TV 24.
Some say college isn't for single parents or people who work full-time. I'm here to prove them wrong. I'm a first-generation American, the father of Dion, and a non-traditional student at Gadsden State Community College. As a sergeant in the Army National Guard, I've watched soldiers with degrees progress faster in their careers. So today, I'm in school, involved in the Veterans Upward Bound program, and excited to see what's in store for my career. I truly am earning my wings at Gadsden State.
Come out and check out the Alabama Tractor difference. We can take care of all your needs of parts, sales, and service for RTVs, zero turns, and tractors and construction equipment. See us here in Lincoln at 620 Speedway Industrial Drive. Or come visit us here in Asheville at 275 6th Avenue, or give us a call at 205-594-7000.
Hey everybody, I'm Larry May. I've been in the entertainment business for over 25 years. I've written for the local paper. I've interviewed a lot of touring artists and local artists here. And what I figured out is how much talent we have here in Alabama. That's why we put a new show together for you called Entertainment Alabama. Come watch us for the hottest new acts and some of your favorites that are national touring artists.
More than 2.5 million youths admitted to vaping, according to data from the CDC. Teens are at a greater risk for nicotine addiction because their brains are still developing. Please talk to your children about vaping.
Although we may see things differently,
the message can still reach me.
Hughes Paint and Body Works Towing and Recovery in Oxford is the area's leading auto body shop serving Anniston, Oxford, Talladega, and surrounding areas since 1996. They specialize in auto body repair and refinishing, paint correction, paintless dent repair, towing, and so much more. For all of your auto body needs, contact Hughes Paint and Body Works Towing and Recovery at 256-835-1170. Also online at HughesPaintandBody.com.
Lacey Krantz with your TV 24 News update. More on the story of DeAndre Cottrell, who went missing on the 4th of July and was found dead in an abandoned shed in Birmingham on July 6th. His partner, Julian Taylor Morris, who was the last person to see Cottrell alive, went missing July 5th and is still missing today. Morris told Cottrell's family that he simply ran off. Cottrell's sister, Angelica Harris, said, "The entire time that we were searching, he was talking to my mom, trying to explain. Then she remembered Morris telling her on the phone that he had put her brother in a house. He stated, I was like, hey, he's in a house. Like, he's in a house. Dude just told me calm, cool, and collected that he's in a house. We got to go look in houses." Tim Cottrell, Angelica and DeAndre's brother, had to identify DeAndre to the police at the scene. He said, "I took on that challenge, knowing that my sister and my mom probably wouldn't be able to accept it, and I'm okay with it." Regarding Morris being named a person of interest, Tim made a powerful statement. He said, "That's hurtful too, because, like, my mom was there, staring her son's killer in the eye." Morris is described as a black man who is 5 feet 6 inches tall with a weight of 160 pounds. Officers are now offering a reward of up to $5,000 for any information that leads to an arrest and indictment in the case. Anyone with information about the case should call Birmingham Crime Stoppers at 205-254-7777 or 911. For more news stories like these, plus weather with Justin Beal and sports, tune in tonight to the TV 24 News. For WEAC TV 24, I'm Lacey Krantz.
Rise and shine, everyone. It's 7:48 on July 11th, and you're tuning in to Rise and Shine right here on WEAC TV 24. And on Thursdays, we get to visit with Gadsden State. So when we went to break, we were talking a little bit about FAFSA and the changes, and now we're going to talk about how do you enroll at Gadsden State to begin your journey or to continue your journey. whatever phase you're in your educational journey, Gadsden State is there to help. So we've got Andy Green and Ian Freiberg with us this morning. Good to see y'all. Yes. So we were talking about FAFSA a little bit because that's a big one. We want to make sure everybody's filling out those and taking your time filling them out.
Absolutely.
Yes, and if you have any questions, then Ian and his team are there to help. And that's so much comfort. There is so much comfort in knowing that there is someone who can help. I mean, there just really is.
I have a great staff, and they do a really, really good job.
Yeah, everyone at Gadsden State is so great. I believe you with the great staff, because everyone I've gotten to meet has just been so focused on helping people with their educational journey and to make sure that the students are equipped with every tool that they need to succeed. And so I've been very impressed by it. And so, yeah, so when we went to break, Andy promised we'd be talking about how to enroll at Gadsden State.
That's right, Courtney.
All right.
We talked about the free application for federal student aid, and students can complete the FAFSA before they apply for admission to Gadsden State. And that's okay. I mean, that's certainly okay, because as we were saying, the school systems, they have all the students apply now. If they're in high school, they complete the FAFSA. And when a student completes that free application for federal student aid, they can list schools that they want to have that information sent to. And that number, did it go up to 20?
It did. It changed from 10 to 20 this year.
Yeah, so that was part of the better FAFSA. And so students are able to complete the FAFSA and list all of those schools. If they list Gadsden State, then we're going to get that information. But what we want them to do, and if they list us, we're going to start communicating with them about applying for admission. And so viewers just saw the graphic there on the screen about the process to apply for admission. It is also free. So visiting GadsdenState.edu, if you want to attend any of our 5 campuses, it's one application.
Okay.
And so the students are able to visit GadsdenState.edu, choose apply. When they complete that application, we want them to take their time too, because just based on how they answer a question can change a lot about that particular student situation. And so answering questions about their residency. Are they an Alabama resident? Maybe they're a resident of Georgia. Where did they finish high school? Have they attended college anywhere else? Perhaps through a dual enrollment program, or did they graduate from high school? Did they complete the GED? Did they, whatever their individual education situation is. So whatever they put on there, Courtney, is what we take as that's what they say. And so if they were to make a mistake, it's okay. We can get that fixed. We had one this week, as Ian was telling a story. Mine's not as maybe heartstrings, but had a student who had put something wrong on the application, and it affected their admission. And so they recognized it. They called, and I said, hey, it's okay. We can get that fixed. And so after the student applies for admission, it's a free application. All that we're going to be looking for is information to kind of support what they put on that application. So did they graduate from high school? We'll get a high school transcript. If they have finished the GED, then we'll get a copy of that score report. If they've attended a college somewhere else, maybe they attended somewhere years ago and graduated from there, and now they're wanting to come back to college and pursue a different track, then we just need that college transcript. And so whatever their situation is, we get the information to back that education history up.
Nice.
Once we have all of that in hand, then we can admit that student to the institution, which means then any of the financial aid that they were awarded or could then be awarded to them. And then we want them to register for classes. And so we have opportunities from now all the way through the fall semester to register. So for viewers who might be watching this before July the 18th, which is a week from today.
Not much time.
No, not at all. So that we have what we call Cardinal Commit. That's a Thursday. That's on Thursday, July the 18th. It's a chance for students to come to our campus. If they've applied, been accepted, they can go ahead and register for their fall classes. We do that in an environment that's very comforting and surrounding, and we have advisors that are there with them, so they don't have to do it alone. But Ian and his team are there to talk about that process of financial aid. We have other departments across campus who are letting the students know about services that are available to them once they become a Gadsden State enrolled student. And so we want students to register before the semester begins, and so that way they can get their class schedule that they like.
Yeah.
They can maybe get the preferred times and teachers and all of those things. But then two, that allows them, if they were to have a balance, maybe that they have their financial aid that gets awarded, and if whatever their award is, if they ended up with some number of a balance, let's say $400. If they have that balance before a certain date, they can spread that balance out across 4 payments during that fall semester. So from a budgeting standpoint, that could allow that student or that family to say, well, hey, instead of having to pay this balance because we were not full Pell eligible just based on an individual situation, we can take that balance, spread it out across the semester, and just budget for that a lot easier. So that July 18th date is coming up. We have another date on July the 27th. That's a Saturday. We know that date might be a little bit easier for some students if they're working right now. If they're in whatever role they're in, they might have a weekend that's open. So they can come in on that Saturday, July the 27th, do the exact same thing. And then we were talking yesterday, we're getting some, what we just call advising days for students who have not registered for the semester, come in to certain locations across campus. We've got our staffs that are, everybody's there, so they're getting kind of a shortened version of that Cardinal commit, but it's kind of more, as they can come and go, we'll be available to them.
Those are exciting days on campus, I'm sure.
I think the only other exciting day is graduation, aside from that, but all days are exciting, but you're right, because those are the moments where they're going from, I've applied and been accepted, and now I actually have a college schedule.
Yeah.
And they're, I've seen students who are like, what are you taking? What are you taking? I'm in this class. Who do you have for that? And so they kind of start that, well, hey, we can do this together.
Yeah.
And so we have a lot of students, that come out of maybe a high school together, and they say, well, hey, we want to continue to do things, but then you start to see students making new friendships with whomever they're sitting in that class with. So it's a lot of fun, Courtney.
It is, and there's such a great campus life at Gadsden State. That's one of the things that we've talked about on previous shows is the misconception that if you're going to a community college, you're just going to have class and then go. But you have a great campus and campuses
Yes.
and campus life and sports and all kinds of theater, which of course I'm a big fan of. And so there's a lot of great things happening on campus. Of course, education first and foremost, but it's fun to have a fun college experience, and you can have that.
Well, I think we talked about it here before. Is for us, my advice is always go to class.
Sure.
For every student, go to class. That's
Yeah.
that's number one. But when you're out of class, when the class time ends, go to something where you can get engaged. And where you can plug in and you can be a contributor, and sometimes that's through clubs and organizations. So there's some like-mindedness where, hey, we have something in common, or there's an interest that we share. Sometimes that's that opportunity to go to something that you don't know anything about, and you say, you know what, I don't know anything about this. Everybody else who has this shared interest, I want to go learn about that. And so sometimes there's a great chance for students to do that. But then you're right, the campus life of athletics and arts, we provide all of those for students, and so that kind of completes the college experience, the well-roundedness of not just going to class, not just studying, taking tests, getting a degree. You've actually done some other things along the way, because the GPA is important.
Very important.
And so are those people that you meet. And sometimes it's just those hands that you end up shaking. And
those new experiences that you get to have. Like you said, learn. I mean, it's all about learning. It might not be just in a classroom. You might find an opportunity to learn outside. And let's not forget the amazing cafeteria. I mean, that is, it was so funny when I had Chief Freeman on. That's what he talked about the most, was Taco Tuesday and how great that the,
was really good.
The cafeteria
I have no doubt that was what Chief Freeman really pushed.
He loved it.
Yeah.
No, of course, we talked about campus safety and all of those things, but he definitely really likes the Taco Tuesday.
We all do.
No, it's great. It is a great cafeteria. So, well, we've got some more to talk about. We're going to have to go to another quick break, but you stay tuned. You're watching Rise and Shine right here on WEAC TV 24.
Parnell and Parnell Insurance Agency. We've been here in Oxford and Alabama, Tallapoosa, Georgia since 1990. With Auto Owners Insurance, we're able to give customers competitive pricing along with excellent coverages. Parnell Insurance can handle all of your personal, commercial, and life insurance needs. We have a very experienced staff, both personal and commercial. All together, we've got about 125 years experience. Come see what our insurance agency can do for you in Oxford, Alabama, and Tallapoosa, Georgia.
Auto Owners Insurance.
At Bentley Prosthetic and Medical Supply, we care about you. We offer custom prosthetics, orthotics, diabetic shoes, and durable medical supplies. We're located here in Alexandria, Alabama, where it's a country feel but professional care. Come see us today.
Campers Unlimited, we offer a no-pressure experience, no hidden fees, and great service after the sale, making us one of the fastest-growing RV dealers in the Southeast. With our second location in Oxford, we offer a great selection of over 220 campers from top brands, including Grand Design. Our mission is to help friends and family spend time together in the great outdoors. At Campers Unlimited, you aren't just a customer, you are family. Check out our inventory at campersunlimited.net or come see us at Gadsden or Oxford.
Hello, I'm Taylor Sloan with the City of Oxford, with a word about one of our city's most precious resources, water. Clean water enriches our lives in so many ways, but we cannot afford to take it for granted. Remember, every time you pour something unnatural down the drain or in the environment, and every time you litter, our beautiful lakes and creeks suffer. Our city is beautiful. Let's all join together to keep it that way. Stop pollution where it starts, and help protect our waters for life.
I'm Lacey Krantz with your TV 24 News Update. More on the story of DeAndre Cottrell, who went missing on the 4th of July and was found dead in an abandoned shed in Birmingham on July 6th. His partner, Julian Taylor Morris, who was the last person to see Cottrell alive, went missing July 5th and is still missing today. Morris told Cottrell's family that he simply ran off. Cottrell's sister, Angelica Harris, said, "The entire time that we were searching, he was talking to my mom, trying to explain. Then she remembered Morris telling her on the phone that he had put her brother in a house. He stated, I was like, hey, he's in a house, like he's in a house. Dude just told me calm, cool, and collected that he's in a house. We got to go look in houses." Tim Cottrell, Angelica and DeAndre's brother, had to identify DeAndre to the police at the scene. He said, "I took on that challenge, knowing that my sister and my mom probably wouldn't be able to accept it, and I'm okay with it." Regarding Morris being named a person of interest, Tim made a powerful statement. He said, "That's hurtful too, because, like, my mom was there, staring her son's killer in the eye." Morris is described as a black man who is 5 feet 6 inches tall with a weight of 160 pounds. Officers are now offering a reward of up to $5,000 for any information that leads to an arrest and indictment in the case. Anyone with information about the case should call Birmingham Crime Stoppers at 205-254-7777 or 911. For more news stories like these, plus weather with Justin Beal and sports, tune in tonight to the TV 24 News. For WEAC TV 24, I'm Lacey Florence.
Rise and shine, everyone. It's 8:02 on your Thursday morning, July 11th. And so welcome back. We're talking with Andy and Ian, of course, with Gadsden State, because Thursdays we get to learn about Gadsden State, and I just love it. I've learned so much. I've been able to pass along so much great information to people, you know, and somebody's like, well, they don't know what to do. Hey, well, did you know that you can go to Gadsden State and you can know, you know, where, and you had mentioned a term earlier, I think in our first segment, they can earn while they learn, and there's opportunities like that at Gadsden State. It's just a world of opportunities, whether you want to go into a workforce development or you want to get your traditional classes out of the way, or I don't want to say out of the way, but under your belt.
There you go.
Should we
Yeah.
say that? But whatever it is, and there is opportunities monetarily to help you do that. And that is what Ian and his team are there to do. So let's talk a little bit about affordability and how do people do that. We've talked about the FAFSA. That's something that every senior will fill out, but not everybody entering Gadsden State is going to be right out of high school.
That's right.
And so let's talk about some other opportunities. So can you provide maybe an overview of what federal and state grants that are available or programs, the grants that help support students financially?
Sure. The two remaining federal funds that we have are Federal Work Study.
Okay.
And that's where a student can work on campus. We've recently raised the rate to $10. Now that doesn't sound like much, but these jobs are super flexible. Okay, so students come in the office, I've had them in, and we know that it's a student's primary job is their education. And so when a student comes in and they're working for us and they say, well, I want to go to this event, or can I do this, or I need off, or I need to study for a test, or there's never been a time where I've said, no, you can't do that. It is still a job, so we expect them to communicate with their supervisors and stuff like that. So it's them learning about being in the work world and how to operate and interact with others. So, you know, it's a good thing. The other thing about Federal Work Study that a lot of people don't think about is it's a great networking, because you know, you learn and you get to be with all the faculty and staff on college, and we will take care of you, you know, especially when we know children or students. We do our level best. Whatever's going on in their life, we try to help them, assist them, whatever we need to do to get them to their goal of their dream, whatever that is, their degree. The other one that we have is Federal Supplemental Equal Opportunity Grant, and like we said
I'm glad
earlier,
you said it.
Big mouthful. So
Yes.
FSEOG. That is about $600 a year. It comes in two disbursements, about $300 for fall, $300 for spring. That is a need-based grant, and so it goes to the highest need students first, and we have a logarithm that kicks that out. So it's not something that, you know, I kind of indiscriminately hand out like here and there. So, but yes, it does go to the highest need students first. You did mention WIOA as well, so if anybody was interested in that, they would need to go to the career centers in their local area to see if they qualify.
So that's kind of a separate thing than...
Well, we're an eligible training provider for a lot of the programs that WIOA funds, and so yeah, depending on where you live, if you're in whatever your county is, now the Department of Workforce in the state of Alabama administers that program. That was I think something recent out of the legislative session, but the Department of Workforce administering that, and we're an eligible training provider. So depending upon the program that the student might be pursuing, that could be WIOA eligible. And so that is something that's just another avenue and another path for a student to pursue. And then for any of our programs that are eligible, our folks are letting those students know, hey, this is an eligible program. Go to your local WIOA office where you can receive funding. And that's separate from the financial aid office, but it can go along with whatever other financial aid that student's eligible for.
Okay. Oh, so you can have
And they need
both.
to check back on those too, because those programs change, like Andy said. I mean,
yeah, a lot of times it's those programs that are in demand, and so if if the state determines, hey, we anticipate a shortage of workforce in this particular area, so how do we get people to go into that area? Well, we can provide them with training funds so that it's nothing. They might have to pay something, but again, it's those individuals who are maybe working another job already, but how do they upskill, or how do they look at changing careers? And so the Department of Workforce provides those, and they do change, and so we encourage students all the time to check and make sure. Now we know which ones we are eligible for, because we go through that process to say we offer that program, here's how we're going to do it. Kind of gets checked off and signed off on, and then the workforce office can send students our way if the student's interested in going through that program.
So you work really closely with that office as well.
We do.
Yeah, I think there's probably, we could go down list after list of other agencies. We're in education, and so we kind of touch all of things from an economic development standpoint. And I would really say, education, I think we talked about it earlier, Courtney, it's one of the things that's from an economic area that can change a household. You know, the old poster I remember in elementary school that was hanging was, the more you learn, the more you earn.
Yeah.
You know, and that was a really nice, you know, and I'm sure that's attributed to someone somewhere at a time, but it is in a sense of, we want that to be formal education in a sense. We want that to be through Gadsden State, but just the more you learn from a life standpoint, you know, that can help you. And so what we're trying to do is take what you can learn in a lifetime and put it into a program so that that student can have the skills and the training to go out, whether they're being in health sciences and some of the technical or workforce area, in academics. You know, and as you were saying earlier, I mean, students can come to us and take their academic coursework. If they say, well, I want to go on and be a school teacher. We were talking about a family member of yours who 40 years.
A long time.
I mean, that's a lifetime, you know. For
yes, really. I know, we didn't think he was ever going to retire. He loved it.
Yeah. So most of the way that school systems are set up, public schools, is you have to have a bachelor's degree, and that's okay. And so students can come to us and take coursework to earn toward that bachelor's degree, transfer to any one of our partners that are in the area or wherever it's good for them. And so we work with so many agencies, educational, government, non-government, to help students.
And those transfer scholarships that you're able to help help them find. I know when Dr. Farrah Hayes was in, we talked a lot about the transfer scholarships and the opportunity to start your educational journey and then to be able to transfer, again, with scholarships. So it can actually make the latter part of your financial journey more affordable as well. And you're not having to be saddled with so much, you know, debt when you start your career. You hear a lot about that, like with people, I just went through, you know, school, but I can't find a job that's going to be able to help me with knocking down that student debt. And so this is such an affordable option. And with your team being able to help with finding what's out there, because you really, you take that one person and you, like you said, as long as you have all of the correct information that you need, you can help find what opportunities can be for that one, and what is, you know, available for one person might not be available for all. So being able to be there to guide those students.
Yeah, and since you said that, ASAP funds, or the Alabama Student Assistance Program, which is only available to Alabama students. So that also offers about $600 a year, once again $300 per semester. So you can see with that, along with Pell, how students could fare very well or not have to pay a dime for their education. I mean, it's really wonderful here in the state of Alabama, because I thought, I was at a prior school and I thought our tuition was low, and then I came to Gadsden State and I was like, well.
There's no excuses. There really aren't.
Yeah, I mean, they beat the pants off us. I mean, so, but anyhow, it's really great. And going back to what Andy said a minute ago, a lot of our programs are structured in such a way that if you want to start out, say, in a certificate program, which is not very many hours, and then you really love what you're doing, you can step straight up into an associate's degree nonstop, you know. So it continually, there's a way to elevate yourself.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about, is those opportunities. I have a gentleman, Jerome McQueen. Hey, Jerome, he's one of my favorites. He does STEM, so he's big into STEM, and so he talks about the need for engineers and for even HVAC, and so y'all have those kind of opportunities as well. So if somebody was interested in HVAC, they could start in one of those certificate programs. Absolutely. And then they love it, they can continue building. Yeah,
we have that at campus here that's not far from the studio at the Ayers campus.
Yeah.
Also have that over in the Gadsden area too, at the campus there. And so we recognize the role that we play in workforce. And so I think that you've maybe had some of our teammates and colleagues from Gadsden State talking about that. And I was speaking with one of our welding instructors just this week, and he gave me a number that I'm kind of astounded by it. He said for every 5 that are retiring in his area, there are right now only 2 that are equipped to come in and replace. And so you see the shortfall of, hey, that's 3 positions, that's 3 jobs that need to be filled. And so they're doing a tremendous job of getting students trained. And so many of those are doing that certificate, which gets them, just the foundation that they need. And they can go to work. And then oftentimes those students will recognize, hey, if I go back and get another semester or 2, that's going to give me another skill. So when I go back to the job job site, now I'm going to be able to earn more money, but I'm going to be more marketable, and so that I can maybe take a different job somewhere else. And so it's just that progression all the way through. But there are many other fields that are like that.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of students that come back for multiple degrees or certificates. I mean, it's amazing because I see it all the time. So
right, when you see that opportunity happen, and then you can build on it. Well, let's come back and talk a little bit more about that. We've got to go take a quick break.
Okay.
Stay tuned. You don't want to miss any of this information. You're watching Rise and Shine right here on TV 24.
Is warming up and spring is just around the corner at Miller Sand and Landscape Supply. I'm Craig Miller, and we've got something for everyone, from bulk materials like sand, gravel, and mulch to beautiful outdoor decor to make your outdoor living space the envy of the neighborhood. See our beautiful selection of Mazzarelli fountains, flowers to brighten your garden, and an outdoor center loaded with beautiful decor. Whether you need a little or a lot, visit Miller Sand and Landscape Supply.
Some say college isn't for single parents or people who work full-time. I'm here to prove them wrong. I'm a first-generation American, the father of Dion, and a non-traditional student at Gadsden State Community College. As a sergeant in the Army National Guard, I've watched soldiers with degrees progress faster in their careers. So today, I'm in school, involved in the Veterans Upward Bound program, and excited to see what's in store for my career. I truly am earning my wings at Gadsden State.
May not believe it, but it's true. The 2024 Team 1 Chevys are here. All 2324 Silverado light duties have 2.9% financing for 72 months. The hottest new 24 Team 1 Chevy Blazer, 1.9% financing and no payments till April. And the #1 selling family vehicle, the Equinox. 24 models. You got it. 1.9% financing and no payments till April. Team 1 Chevrolet, home of the best people, the best service, period.
Looking for the best deals in town? Tune in to Shop 24, your ultimate destination for exclusive discounts and savings. From local restaurants, entertainment, grocery stores, and everything in between, we've got unbeatable deals waiting just for you. But remember, these deals are hot and limited, so grab your phone and dial fast to be first in line. Don't miss out on these huge savings. Tune in to Shop 24 with me, Katherine Anderson, your coupon queen, every Monday night at 6:30.
I'm Lacey Collins with your TV 24 News Update. More on the story of DeAndre Cottrell, who went missing on the 4th of July and was found dead in an abandoned shed in Birmingham on July 6th. His partner, Julian Taylor Morris, who was the last person to see Cottrell alive, went missing July 5th and is still missing today. Morris told Cottrell's family that he simply ran off. Cottrell's sister, Angelica Harris, said, "The entire time that we were searching, he was talking to my mom, trying to explain. Then she remembered Morris telling her on the phone that he had put her brother in a house. He stated, I was like, hey, he's in a house. Like, he's in a house. Dude just told me calm, cool, and collected that he's in a house. We got to go look in houses." Tim Cottrell, Angelica and DeAndre's brother, had to identify DeAndre to the police at the scene. He said, "I took on that challenge, knowing that my sister and my mom probably wouldn't be able to accept it, and I'm okay with it." Regarding Morris being named a person of interest, Tim made a powerful statement. He said, "That's hurtful too, because, like, my mom was there, staring her son's killer in the eye." Morris is described as a black man who is 5 feet 6 inches tall with a weight of 160 pounds. Officers are now offering a reward of up to $5,000 for any information that leads to an arrest and indictment in the case. Anyone with information about the case should call Birmingham Crime Stoppers at 205-254-7777 or 911. For more news stories like these, plus weather with Justin Beal and sports, tune in tonight to the TV 24 News. For WEAC TV 24, I'm Lacey Florence.
Hey, rise and shine. It's 8:19 on your Thursday morning, July the 11th. I'm going through my notes because I want to make sure that we're covering everything, and I know there's a lot to cover.
So it's only an hour show.
It's only an hour show. But the good thing is that Ian and his team are standing by to help, and of course Andy with all student services. You know, you're there for students to reach out. There is not a question that you can answer that they haven't even either heard before or will research or help you figure out. So even if you think, well, I don't want to ask that question, please do, right?
Yeah, and you know, it is. It's one of those things that we'll have people ask questions and they'll say, hey, I'm sorry, this might be and they'll say that this is the stupid question.
I know, but there's no such
And then I let
thing.
them know, hey, you know, you're the 10th person to ask that same question today. And that's not a lack of us not giving information and resources on the front end to inform someone. Is for many individuals, it's the first time they've been through this. And so that's why we exist. I mean, we're here to serve students. Ian and his team are specific to the financial aid side. I know when I was here before with Cody, they're on the enrollment side. So those questions about how do I become a student, that's what they're there for. We have other areas within student services like the student life. We were talking about getting involved. That's what they are there for. And so there is no stupid question. But what we want to be able to do is to give students information so they can make the informed decision of, is Gadsden State the right place for them? And you know, every student that I've taught with so far, they love coming to Gadsden State because it gives them that opportunity for education and for changing their life.
Yeah, and it does. And I've loved learning about it. And I was telling them on a break, I'm going to get to be a specialty patient for the health services, and so I'm looking forward to that. And just, you know, being on campus, it's great. Of course, I love the theater there, and I mean, it's really a fun place to be. So let's make sure that so dual enrollment, that's a big one.
Yeah, we taught dual enrollment the last time that I was here, and you know, Ian and his group, they help us with dual enrollment from a standpoint of, you know, those students are already, if they're dual enrolled, they're in high school, and they are also a student with us. And so while that student's not eligible for the financial aid aspect that Ian and his group oversees, where they come along and help us is when that student then becomes a full-time student or a degree-seeking student, is they already have some college credits to their, you know, to their academic history, and so it is, and so that allows Ian and his group to work with them because they already have credits, they already have an established grade point average. So dual enrollment continues to be a chance for students to get college credits while they're in high school. What we are always looking for are the 10th, 11th, and 12th graders. And so if they're in 10th, 11th, or 12th grade, they can be a dual enrollment student. If their school that the student's attending does not have an agreement with Gadsden State, very easy for us to get one with that school. But most all of the public schools within this region, they have an agreement with us. And so for those students, I mean, it is, you know, they're getting high school credit, getting college credit. I know we have one student who, after 1 year at Gadsden last year, she was able to graduate because of dual enrollment. So
isn't that amazing?
we only had her as a full-time student on our campus for 2 semesters. But what that has done for that individual student is now she's pursuing a bachelor's degree. She's going to be one that we were talking about being a teacher. She knows that that's what she needs to do, and so that's just putting her on a trajectory and a track to be that teacher sooner, get her in a classroom sooner, and then maybe work 40 years.
Yeah, there you go. And we need them. We need those teachers. So we've got the FAFSA, which we talked about in the changes, but Ian and his team are able to help you navigate through that. There's also private loans.
There is.
There's opportunities for people to go out and get private loans, of course, and scholarships. And then there's a payment plan. We talked a little bit about that payment plan. Now that's 25% at the beginning of the semester. Is that how the payment plan works?
There's an upfront that you will sign up to pay for the payment plan, so that puts a little bit in at the front end. So there's kind of that payment plan fee.
Sure.
But depending upon when the student signs up, they might have their payment split into 4 payments, or potentially even 3 payments. So that's where we want the students to register early. So if they need the payment plan, they have that 4 payment option. If the student waits until right at the start of the term, that's when it drops to the 3. So a third is still okay for from a budget standpoint.
It's easier to do that. Than come up with the one time fee.
The one up front. That's right. So
and we do want students to get everything done early, because instead of coming in that first week, 2 weeks of class worrying about your FAFSA, about what's going to be paid for, we prefer to have them all set. We like to have their financial aid package set. So the sooner they enroll, register, all those things, complete the FAFSA, the better off they are. So speaking of which, Andy mentioned earlier that they can put up to 20 schools. However, you do have to put our school code, which is 001017, for us to even see. So we get a lot of students that call us and say, hey, can you see my FAFSA? Or they might even be going to another institution. I'm like, well, I'll be glad to look at that for you, but I can't see it unless you actually put our school as one of your school codes. So
let's remind our viewers of that code one more time, because that's an important number.
001017 is the school code for Gadsden. So
001017. Write that down, especially all of you who are filling out the FAFSA. You're going to need that. Let Gadsden State take a look at it and see what opportunities that can be right there in this area, right there in your backyard, if you will.
Yeah, and we know that for some situations it might be a last minute, that that life happened and they said, hey, I can go to school. Maybe I had a plan and that plan changed.
They do.
But for those that do know they're wanting to attend Gadsden State in the fall, or wanting to go to college somewhere in the fall, the semester begins in August, and so it's just, we're about a month away from the semester beginning, but we want the students to try to get that early, because that first few days of class they're navigating new class. They're navigating just an entirely, maybe a different atmosphere for them, and we want to ease as much stress that they might have on them just from that life change to go ahead and get these things done early so that we can help them best.
And if you are one of those late students, don't let that discourage you, because there are options. Like you mentioned earlier, we have private loans, so you can shop out a private loan, and you can get almost what you want. I mean, you can have the payments deferred until you graduate. You can get super low interest. It's up to you to shop it out. But by doing that, what will happen is, if they are eligible for, say, if you're a low-income student, you could potentially get the private loan, tie you over, complete your FAFSA. As long as you're enrolled in the college and you complete the FAFSA and it comes to us, we can go ahead and pay you. Even though it's retroactive, you might be at the end of the semester. You could have even gone fall semester and not gotten any financial aid, and as long as you're enrolled spring, when that FAFSA comes in, I can pay you for both those semesters.
Really?
So don't let that discourage you. Like I said, once again, come talk to us. I mean, that's what we're there for. We want to help you. We want you to come to Gadsden.
Yeah. Don't let financial burdens hold you back, or financial fear hold you back from a huge opportunity, and that is furthering your education.
Yeah.
I feel like oftentimes people do say, like, I want to go to college, but I can't afford it.
We hear that all the time.
Sure.
And don't fall in that trap.
Yeah.
No, because as we know, there's cost of education continues to rise, but for Gadsden State, we continue to be an affordable option that is economical for most families and most households, individual, or if that is a household family. And so that the big part for us is we have opportunities for you as a student, and all we are asking is you just to come and ask those questions, and we'll help you.
Yeah, Ian and his team a chance to show you all the options, and of course meet Andy and his team with student services. So with that, we're almost out of time this morning. I know we could talk a whole lot more, but like you said, it's only an hour show.
That's right.
So you'll have to come back, but you can also reach out. So let's make sure everyone has contact information. Andy?
Yeah, www.gadsdenstate.edu. You're going to get anything that you need from any Gadsden State department or office by visiting the website, gadsdenstate.edu. You can search and reach out to any of us, Ian or myself, or any of the departments that we represent to be able to help students.
Yeah. Is there a specific phone number for financial aid department? That's always a tough one. You don't ever call it. But I know you can find that on that website there.
Yep. So they can do Fine Aid at Gadsden, or they can just call the general number. Or, like I said, any financial aid number, even mine, it's listed. So they can call it, and it'll either go to me or someone else in the office. So
that's right.
And that website is so easily to be able to navigate because you have all of the application process there. But definitely, we would suggest giving your team a call, with any
absolutely.
questions.
So, like I said, just don't be bashful.
Yeah. And don't procrastinate.
No.
Start your journey with Gadsden State. What is it? Watch me soar.
Watch me fly.
Watch me fly.
Yeah.
Fly, soar, watch me fly. All right, well, thank you so much for the information. Thanks for getting up early and starting your day with us. Yes, thank you. And thank you for tuning in. All right, well, we'll see you back here in the morning on Rise and Shine. Wishing you a great rest of your day.